This is a Halloween special. Once every year, I always do something to do with Halloween. Years before, I did the cereal with the Count Chocula and the Franken cereal and the blueberry cereal. And the year before that was the Halloween Disney Halloween. Well, this time I'm doing a review on the adaptation of The Haunted of 1999. Yeah, I know it sucked, but I was a 90s kid, as I said, and I loved the movie as a kid. You know why? Because this is the only movie that didn't scare the living daylights out of me. A few parts did scare me as a child, though. Let's compare it to the old with the new. I'm sure Nostalgia Critic would have loved to do this, but ha! He didn't follow this. New and old of the Haunted. Now then, as we know from The Haunted, it was originally broadcasted a long time ago, back in the late 80s, may I believe, but I'm ahead of myself. The main character in both movies is Eleanor, who has some connection with the house that was built by Kramer. But I'm trying to. Anyway, the film was made in 1963. It's a supernatural horror film directed by Robert Wise, adapted by Nelson Kennedy novel of The Haunting of the House. Now, I'm going to eventually get that book eventually because I'm a reader. A bit of supernatural film, at least. Anyway, we know that in the movie, the first Rata Maker narrates the history of the 90-year-old Hill School, which was constructed by a huge crane. She died when a carriage crashed against a tree. Adored the house for the first time, and Crane remarried, but his second wife died in the house from a fall down the stairs. Crane's daughter, Ability, lived in the house for the rest of her life, never moved out of the nursery. She died calling for a nurse, and committed inheritance to the house. But later, hanging herself from a staircase in the library. That's very dark. And as you know, for the rest of the film, three people entered: Theodore, known as Theo, and a meek Eleanor Lynch, an experimental photograph activity as a child. Eleanor spent her adult life caring for her invaded mother, who recently dead, left Eleanor serves guilt. Now then, the movie is a bit more decency for most folks, because some of you guys have grown up to seeing it. And, well, at the end, all I can know is that Eleanor died just by crashing into a tree and is killed. Luke avoids it seems that Eleanor did really aim the car at the tree, but Makely is saying that something was in the car with her. He knows that the tree had claimed Eleanor's life, and the same one that killed the first Miss Crane. Theo remarks that Eleanor got what she wanted, to remain with the house. Yeah. That one was not really good. Okay, I admit I never liked the first one because, well, I wasn't born in 1963. Heck, my mom and dad were close to that age than me. Anyway, then when I was about at least 7 or 8, I found this. When I was about 9 years old or about 10, I watched this film and I found it quite fascinating because, well, I was always into stories about, well, sometimes about children being in pain. It's not really good to get into those stories, but I'm just saying, I felt awful from watching those children trapped in that awful house with Mr. Crane. Now, here we come to the 1999 version of the film, which I love and adore. Unlike the rest of you guys, I know you say it's stuck, but hey, I like the basic story. The characteristics is kind of charming, and, well, here's from the beginning. Eleanor, or as Nell Lynch, has cared for her invaded mother for 11 years, and after her mother died, her sister Jane, which is a nasty idiot, and her boyfriend Lou would eject her. They wanted to leave the house. I mean, come on, that's really mean. I say the sisters are a witch, the father is a demon, and their son is a little devil. Even I won't babysit that type of child, and believe me, when I was about 9, I babysat a little boy who was like that. He threw a piece of wood at me. And trust me, it's not very comfortable being thrown a piece of wood at you. Then she got called, but as it stand before, in the middle of the film, no one ever called her from the company. It was the ghost's from the house that called her because they wanted her help to get them out of there. The children, they were Eleanor's kin. Okay, apply. Okay, here's the rest. The hell? Dr. Merrill by Lam Nelson at the Hill House, secluded mansion in Berkshire West End. I can't read the one big letters. I'm trying. At the house she meets Mr. and Mrs. Doyley, but they never stay out at night time. You know why? They know something. Then they hear the story about Hugo Crane, and like house started to go like a bit crazy. Yeah. Now it starts to suspect that something is happening in the house. And then next morning when they were like waking up, they found blood written on the Cranewood you know, on the Hugh Crane photograph. Big picture. Welcome home, Eleanor, written in blood. Theo and Luke try to establish an innocent, but Nell tells them that they don't know her. Now becomes demanded proof that the house is haunted by ghostly children who are only terrorized and killed by Crane's security. She learned that Crane kidnapped the children from his cosmos and slaughtered them, then burned their bodies in the fireplace, trapping their ghosts and forcing them to remain with him. Proof of an eternal family. She also learned that Crane had a second wife named Cornelia, from which he was descended. Dr. Mill is skeptical of Eleanor's claims until he realizes the mistake of bringing them to the Hell House. Then the statue tried to drown him in a pool of water in the greenhouse. Several more terrifying events. Nell insists that she cannot leave the ghost of the kids to suffer at eternal Crane hands. I quite agree. I like the idea that Eleanor is starting to care for the children who were part of her family, but then they were all killed by that monster. I mean, come on. If I was in her shoes, I would do everything my best to help the children in there. And as you know, I have a ghost in my room. And trust me, he's happy just being here with me. One day I wish I could just get him to heaven, though. Anyway, back to our review. Trying to convince Eleanor to leave the house with them, Theo offered to let Neil move in with her. But no! Nell revealed her relationship to Canyon and claimed that she must help the children move on in the afterlife. Hugh Crane's ghost steals up the house, trapping them all inside. Frustration, Luke defeats the portrait. Crane rage spirits drag Luke to the fireplace, and that's what I mean. Now is able to lead Crane's spirit towards the iron door. The spirits pull Coin into the dragging him down to hell. Now is pulled with him, inflicted trauma on her body, but the ghost gently released her from the ground. The ghost rised up to heaven, accompanied by the children's ghost. After Nell's death, she moved down to heaven with the ghost. And Theo and Dr. Murray waited to get open. Let's just say they never said anything. They left it and suddenly went. And what do I think? I loved the movie as a kid. I know that most of you don't really like this movie, but I love it as a child. But it was the first movie I ever saw of Owen Wilson. Yeah, you know Owen Wilson. He was annoying. In the movie, he was a little, annoying. He was cute, but hey, annoying as it is. He was annoying. This was one of the movies that was created by DreamWorks earlier in the year, before the animation movie, before Shrek, before anything of that. Here's the production team have did. Wes Craven was one of the point development remakes of The Haunted, but dropped out of the favor of Scream. Under DreamWorks, the film was originally going to be collaborated between Steve Spielberg, mainly directed by Stephen King, but the two had creative differences. In King, instead of Road Teleport of Red Rose Red, Television Misery shared the same elements from Jackson's own novel, Haunted of Fell Trees. The character's real-life editor was Winchester Mystery House in St. John's, California. Ooh, one day I wish to go there. And then, I don't know, it was 1995, What Dreams May Come, 1998, oversaw as a designer, and CGI was done by Tiplet Studio, Industrious Light and Magic. Now then, I can tell you that I will read the book eventually, but I don't know if I want to. If it's something like that, but not. One day maybe. The filming in English was used as Hell House building room scene filmed with a Great Hall menu, while into the sailboat inside the dome-shaped hangars was once housed by the Spot's Goose, near the permanently dock of the RMS Queen Mary steamship. Long Beach, California. The kitchen scene was filmed at Bellevue Castle. The critics' receptivity that the was planned upon release was more critically acclaimed as a weak screenplay. Overall, horror, we clearly say. Overdone CGI's effect. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a film of rotten ratings of 17, what the critics considered stated. So really, I can't read very well, but I'm doing my best. All I can say is the effects fail to impress anyone in the performances. As a result of negative reviews, nominated as a 5 Razzie Award. Roger Ebert wants the few critics to give the film a positive review, praising the producer design in particular. The film was modest success. The Haunted gossip over about 33,043,140 over its opening weekend domestically. This film was very good. To most of the eye of those out there in TV land, I know most of you didn't like the film, but I did. I loved it. It was the first horror movie that didn't scare the living daylights out of me. Now I'll talk about the characters. Like I said, Luke was a bit downgraded. He acted like one of those idiots who like to love girls, and Dr. Moore did not try to help. No, he wanted to get them scared, to get a reaction of them, to see if it works. But I didn't like him, but I did like the actress who played. But I did like Theo, because Theo and Nell were going through most of the hauntings. Later on, those guys only got haunted later on in the movie, got bugged by the ghosts. But in the first part, it's Theo and Eleanor that get bugged by the ghosts. Come on. And the Dudleys, they scared me the first time I saw them. They look like people from the gravestones. More like those people you see digging up graves for a body like Frankenstein. The villain was, oh my god. He reminded me of a monster from the Disney movie. Yeah, let me say, don't stop booing at me. He reminded me of the demon above mountain. How the demon likes to play with the souls. And I think Hugh Crane did the same thing too. He played with the ghost children as if they were his, but he scared them. He made them sad. He made them trapped. I wouldn't like that. I don't like hearing children being trapped in here, trapped in purgatory. And I studied purgatory a lot when I was growing up in my high school years. Because since, well, as you've known my most stories, my most videos, I had a lot of meetings with paranormal. So yeah. When I say this film is really good, I give it 10 red hearts. Yeah. I'll be rating the reviews on hearts. Because I like hearts. Stars? Hearts are better. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this wonderful review. And by the way, happy